Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. This podcast features powerful hypnosis, so do not listen while driving or operating machinery. This recording is not suitable for those with epilepsy or severe mental health issues. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here, and in this episode of The Hypnotist, you're going to be listening to a hypnosis session about personal growth. This was created for a client that was very smart, very resourceful, very focused, very ambitious, but was encountering a lot of resistance and a lot of conflict in pursuing their vision. They'd reached a certain point, but then they felt that additional growth would be exhausting, a struggle, even painful. And that is quite common where people report feeling stuck, because there is a part of them that really does want to move forward, but there is a part that is afraid of what that growth will be like. So one of the interesting things that came up is that this particular client used the phrase, pain is growth. Growth is pain. And what was significant about that is that that was such a conviction for her. She would often tell people around her that growth is pain. Now, growth can be painful. There's no doubt about it. But that doesn't mean that all growth is pain. And what you're going to hear in this hypnosis session is a metaphor that enables to consider alternative belief systems about growth. Because in order to move forward, it is important to grow. But growth can mean many different things. Growth can mean learning. Growth can mean making a change. Growth can mean, so many different things. And if the belief is that any growth is painful, well, the body is quite good at protecting itself from pain. It would be very difficult for you to voluntarily break an arm, for example, because your brain would say, no, that's going to be painful. It doesn't really want to do it. So it's not an empowering belief system to say that growth is pain. And therefore, instilling possible alternative belief systems can be very empowering, because then you're no longer driving forward in second gear with the handbrake on. You get to no longer conflict and pull in different directions. I think if you have ambitious goals in your life, but there's a feeling of procrastination or hesitation or struggle or resistance at some level, I think you might benefit from this session. Obviously, this was created for an individual with a very specific belief system. I think these are empowering beliefs anyway about growth, so it might be beneficial. But if you are looking for something customized to you and your needs, there will be a link to have a 30-minute consultation call with me in the show notes, and you can explore what that would be like. For now, though, you might get a lot of value from this session, which of course is completely free. So ideally, you don't want to be listening while you're doing other things. So find a place where you won't be distracted. Turn off any devices other than this one, so you won't be disturbed, and relax and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in. And as you breathe in a resourceful feeling of relaxation. And as you exhale, just allow any feelings of worry, stress, or tension to leave your body in your outward breath. As you breathe in and breathe out, just allow yourself to release any feelings of tension. Position your body in a comfortable way. And if they aren't already closed on the next outward breath, just relax your eyelids and close your eyes. And with your eyes closed, you can give more of your attention to the sound of my voice, enabling you to process thoughts, reflect on the contrast between what you already believe and what it's possible to believe. And perhaps for a while now you've been feeling a sense of resistance, struggle, and inner conflict. That there's part of you that desperately wants to move forward, to grow. But there's also another part that really feels that moving forward could mean a lack of security, stress and struggle, risk and fear. And while you're entertaining two different desires simultaneously, it's almost like you're being pulled in two opposite directions. It takes a huge amount of effort to stay exactly where you are. I want you to think back on your past. And to entertain just how long you've been feeling stuck, feeling resistance. And what you already know is that part of that resistance and struggle is not from the genuine challenges, the genuine obstacles, but what's happening on the inside. Those beliefs, those thoughts, those feelings that have been pulling you in different directions. So as you look back at your past and see that struggle has continued, I want you to imagine a bright future, a powerful vision where you see yourself living in a bigger home. And I want you to see yourself not just living in a bigger home, but liking the people in the neighborhood. See yourself smiling and confident. That you've made friends with your neighbors. But also the success that you've grown in your career, in your life, means that even though you have a bigger home, you still have the same level of security as you had before. In fact, this new home represents security, a fortress, a place that you can retreat to if life starts getting hard. I want you to see yourself in the future brimming with confidence. You can tell from your facial expressions, your body language, your posture, your smile. This is a confident version of you in the future. And I want you to see yourself healthy. That whatever challenges you have in your life, you're managing them to the best of your ability. And imagine what you would be like in your career. Someone that challenges the status quo. someone that inspires change and new ways of thinking. And I wonder if just one of these things that might be holding you back is because at some key times in your life, it was painful to grow. What if a seed of an idea was planted in your mind that growth is pain? It can be painful to leave the safety and security of a family home or parents. It can be painful to forge your own path, to swim against the current, to do your own thing. But just because some growth has been painful doesn't mean that all growth is pain. In the same way that you can have an ice cream on a sunny day, but just because you had an ice cream on a sunny day doesn't mean that ice creams cause sunny days. And maybe it's not useful to think that growth is pain if that belief system tries to protect you from pain. And I want you to entertain the idea that although some pain can be growth and some growth can be painful, not all growth is pain. In fact, most of it can be pleasurable. I want you to imagine you're now in a place in nature, breathing in fresh, clean air. As I start to give you new ideas about what growth really means. And all it will take is one of these ideas to take root, to resonate with you in some way. And then you no longer have to push and pull at exactly the same time, to move forward and step back. You're able to let go of the chains and the anchors that are holding you back and really enjoy making progress. So as you imagine being in nature, open your mind to new ideas about what growth means. And you don't have to agree with all these ideas. But your unconscious will tell you if one of these ideas, or maybe a few, resonate and feel like they would be more useful than the idea that growth is pain. So temporarily, I want you to imagine pulling out the belief that growth is pain from its roots, leaving the hole in the ground for new beliefs to be formed. Because I wonder what would happen if you believed that growth is a natural and essential part of life. That growth is a journey that leads to greater wisdom and understanding. I don't know what would happen if you started believing that growth is about expanding your horizons and discovering new possibilities. That growth is a catalyst for positive change and transformation. What if growth is an opportunity to step outside your comfort zone and embrace the unknown? In the same way that every now and then a crustacean like a crab or a lobster has to outgrow its shell, or a snake outgrows its skin. What if growth is a process of shedding old patterns and beliefs that no longer serve you? And what if one of those beliefs is that growth is pain, that you can shed that old belief if you agree that it no longer serves you? And maybe growth is just about recognizing and leveraging your strengths and talents, being committed to your mission, your purpose, your vision. And sometimes growth is a choice to be the best version of yourself. Sometimes you've made a mistake and you've learned from it. Didn't have to be painful, but you learned from it. And what if that's growth? Learning from your mistakes and evolving and moving forward. Throughout your life, sometimes you had to do the courageous thing, to take a risk. The risk isn't painful. There are many more people that live with the pain of regret by not pursuing their dreams. You already have a growth mindset that sees challenges as opportunities for growth. So if learning and overcoming challenges is growth, and that doesn't need to be painful, then how can growth mean pain? Growth is about tapping into your incredible qualities and emotional states like resilience and self-belief and a vision. Whenever you do something you don't normally do, experience something new, become open-minded to a new perspective, you're growing, and there is no pain there. Growth is sometimes setting goals that stretch you, just slightly more challenging than you've done before. And what if growth is activating that positive attitude and just believing you have what it takes to achieve your goals? Every healthy habit that you have helps you grow. Every book you've read enables you to evolve and grow. Every time you've adapted to a situation, you've grown. Even the fact that you have a vision for your future is growth. Every time you've let go of an old fear or limiting belief, that's growth. Every time you've connected with a like-minded individual or someone that inspired you, that's growth. Every time you look at yourself in the mirror and know that you are valuable and worthy of living the life that you desire, that's growth. And what if every time you felt gratitude for everything you've accomplished so far, particularly doing those things that other people doubted you could do, you have evidence of growth. And in all these cases, growth doesn't need to be painful, doesn't need to be a struggle, doesn't need to be full of resistance. What if growth can be pleasurable? What if growth is freedom? What if growth is fun? And whatever feels like the most useful, empowering belief, to replace the idea that growth is pain, just imagine planting that seed of an idea in the same hole that represented that belief that growth is pain that you've removed. Imagine it taking root. Imagine it starting already to flourish, like you can time-lapse the process inside your own mind. See it taking root and starting to grow, this new belief about growth. And as that new belief takes root and you start thinking about your future, it all seems more achievable, more desirable. It seems like it's destiny rather than just a possibility. I want you to return to the present, listening to my voice, breathing in, breathing out from your nose. And very soon I will count from 1 to 10 to awaken you, but you will awaken having let go of old fears and limiting beliefs, and awakening with powerful new beliefs about what it means to move forward, to grow, to evolve, and to make progress towards your vision for your future. You will awaken feeling more resourceful than you felt in a long time. And when you sleep and dream about your future, it will all feel a bit more real. Starting to count to awaken you. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.